Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Logistics Executive TV. I'm joined today by a gentleman who's the commercial director for a fantastic event, which is coming up very, very soon in Sydney in Australia. I'm joined by Hannover Fairs commercial director, Mike Nissen. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Kim, and thanks very much to the team at Logistics Executive, who are one of the industry partners in CeMAT 2023 Australia this year.
Yeah, big event, Mike. Big event coming up this year. We've worked with you folks before in different places around the world, but CeMAT Sydney is going to be held at the Olympic Park out at Sydney, out at Homebush. Tell us a little bit about the event. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about Hannover Fairs, because you folks are from all over the world and based out of, Germany, Hannover, I guess, to begin with. Tell us a little bit about Hannover Fairs, and then we'll talk about the event.
So thanks, Kim, and I'll give you, a bit of a background on Hannover Fairs, Deutsche Messe, as such, that we were born 76 years ago now. So in 2022, we had our 75th anniversary. Post-World War II, the German government essentially went into Germany to create fairgrounds and also re-establish trade and manufacturing in Germany after World War II. So hence now everyone may see Hannover Messe as such, Dusseldorf Messe, Munich Messe, Frankfurt Messe, etc., which are all these fairgrounds and also trade events that were born out of essentially this re-establishment of trade and manufacturing at that time, and being the global, the global trade fair nation that Germany is, that they have established themselves all over the world in different trade fairs and events. Deutsche Messe, or Hannover Messe as such, Hannover Messe is actually the flagship event in Hannover. Deutsche Messe is actually the company that runs that event and also runs the fairground, but also a host of global events around the world. We're active in 48 countries. And in particular, the industrial transformation space, and of course with CeMAT in the intralogistics, supply chain, warehousing space as well. So just a couple of examples of the events that we host around the world. CeMAT, obviously in Sydney. It alternates between Sydney and Melbourne in Australia. We've just relaunched the Southeast Asia edition, which has previously been held in Mumbai and Jakarta. It will be held in Singapore next year. Intralogistica, which is our Italian edition, is held in Milan. We have an edition that's held in Turkey, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and also satellite events that are also part of industrial transformation as well. So there's a really good global footprint of events that are in this space.
Wow. Yeah, I went to the Hannover Messe a few years ago. Took a group of Australian customers up there, and got to say that is an awesome venue. It is massive. I think there's a series of buses to get everybody around. Hey, Mike, let's cut to Sydney. CeMAT Sydney, focus on technology, logistics, all things logistics and supply chain. When's it on? Or is it 25th to the 27th, 3 days in July?
Yeah, correct. So it's the 25th to the 27th of July at, as you mentioned, Sydney Olympic Park, which is, as we Australians know, is Homebush, but also where the Olympics was in Sydney in 2000, which is become a new hub, I guess, for business, industry, but also major events as well. So I guess one of the reasons why we chose Sydney Olympic Park is because of the growth of Sydney's West, with manufacturing, distribution, the new airport, the Aerotropolis, the new manufacturing hubs. that a lot of organisations now are looking to, if they haven't already, centre themselves in Western Sydney as a distribution or manufacturing region. So it's geographically closer to those large hubs.
Yeah. And you've got an exposition running with the conference as well. So you've got 3 days conferences. I see a lot of panels, which is great. I enjoy those. And given that I'm emceeing part of the conference, I look forward to that. And you've got a big focus on the transport side as well, omni-channel, last mile on one of the days. And then, of course, you were also covering sustainability, ESG, a really broad spectrum. And, of course, I'm sure we can expect a lot of discussion around AI, and people are probably sick of hearing about AI around about now. But a lot happening, of course, in the industry and having a huge impact on the supply chain itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if we look at this in terms of, and yes, we were coming out of COVID last year, essentially, and there was probably I guess a few companies that were a little bit trigger shy as such, with that investment coming out of COVID. That what we've seen from 2022 to 2023 is an absolute explosion in exhibitor participation.
Yep.
To the fact that the show's over double the size it was last year. But in terms of the conference itself, what we are going to see, and it's probably coming back on this, is a lot of that technology that has been maybe in the workplace over the past 12 months that really hasn't come out in the open forum for the wider industrial community to see in its workings. And we've got some great organisations attending the event. In terms of the conference, as you mentioned, there's a whole diverse range of speakers, topics, etc. One of the really interesting areas, and obviously you're very a part of this as well, is the careers side as well, where we've got a couple of different streams focused on careers, and in particular with Australia and essentially the APAC region is not only a worker shortage as such, but also a skills shortage. So I think that there's going to be a lot of discussion about that particular topic area over those 3 days.
Yeah, certainly we're feeling the stresses and strains around the whole talent issue, impacted over the last few years by a range of factors. But, as usual, the supply chain space is always beckoning more people in. I mean, we've had a bit of an uptick in terms of a lot of people coming out of the tech space itself and being available to come into supply chain, which is great. It's having a really positive effect in terms of supply of talent. We want to just talk about briefly about sponsors. You've got some really major global sponsors there. I don't know whether you want to reel off some of the companies that are sponsoring and supporting the event.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So our headline sponsor is KNAPP, one of the preeminent players in the industry as such. We've got conference sponsors, the likes of Daifuku, Siemens, TeamViewer, Swisslog, and Telstra. Other sponsors, Vitron, Dematic, IFM, Hyundai, who are sponsoring the Australian Forklift Championships, along with Dexion. Logistics Executive, of course, is one of the industry partners in the careers recruitment side. A whole bunch of sponsors. So it's really good to see that where we're going with the event, and yes, it is very automation focused, that there still is that human component to it. That is really important. We all focus on, I guess, automation, robotics, and how do we take out humans as such. But what we are focusing on with CeMAT as well is that importance of the human component in the whole supply chain and how that is evolving.
Yeah, good to see. And I think making that connection, that segue on the human element with tech is vitally important. And I've got to say, I mean, as you know, I get to attend and MC a lot of conferences around the globe over an average year. And, I don't see that real connection being made in a lot of events, to be honest. So I think this is going to be interesting, especially some of the panels that are going to be involved. So I'll look forward to that because, quite frankly, Australia is right at the forefront of this shortage that the supply chain and the logistics space in particular is experiencing. So attracting the right people in, welding with the technology, making sure that connection is there and it makes sense for organisations. They understand what's going on and the benefits of getting the right people in the right place with the technology is going to be important. I've seen the floor plan, Mike, enormous. I think you just about sold out. I think there's a few slots left. Big floor plan, big exposition, which means to say that, everybody gets a good look at the latest products, services. That's great. And it's over 3 days. And the good thing I like about Homebush, you can get a car park there. I think you've got me staying at a hotel on site, so that's going to be good. But for people wanting to get there, as opposed to being in the city, Sydney is a bit of a nightmare with parking and transit. But you've got public transport, you've got the trains running in there, quick to the airport, and also great parking. So that's excellent for the infrastructure.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, one of those key factors that we need to realise is that there are so many international businesses, firstly in the west of Sydney, that are closely geographically situated to the venue and not necessarily the CBD of Sydney. Secondly, that public transport, because of the Olympics back in 2000, has made it a lot easier for visitors to come out to that venue as well. So, yeah, we are sold out. The event has definitely sold out. It is great to see, and hope to see everyone there.
So that's sold out for the expo, but people can still register and attend the event as a delegate or an attendee for the expo or the conference itself, yeah?
Yep, absolutely. So, and just on that point, that it is free to attend the expo. It is also free to attend the conference. So we do not charge for the conference. And also free to attend all the networking functions that are aligned with the event as well. So if you like to visit if you'd like to come along as a visitor, then it's all free. Absolutely.
Wow, that's something I actually didn't realise. That's a fantastic model. It means your sales folks have done an excellent job on the sponsorships and on the commercial side. So well done on that. No excuse for people not to turn up. There's going to be a lot of cutting edge demonstrations there on the expos. The conferences, delegates and the speakers in particular are very high quality. So looking forward to that. Mike, there's a registration button up here. People can register to come along, as you say, free of charge. So it'll be a fantastic 1 to 3 days event. We look forward to seeing you there. I'll be arriving a couple of days before the event and look forward to being involved. Mike Nissen, Commercial Manager for Hannover Fairs, thanks for joining us. And we may do another quick catch-up before the event itself and look forward to talking to you then.
Thank you, Kim. Look forward to seeing you there and look forward to seeing everyone else there to come along and visit the exhibition and sit in some of those conference discussions. Thank you.
Great, Mike. Well, thanks to you and your team for a fantastic job over the last few months, and to all the sponsors and supporters of the event. Thanks to you and everybody. Thanks for joining us on Logistics Executive TV. Get along to CeMAT 25th, 27th of July, Homebush, the Olympics Park area in Sydney. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.